Today we remember St. Louis of France, who is one of the patron saints of the Secular Franciscan Order. Father Jerome, you are one of the national spiritual assistants for the Secular Franciscans in the United States. Can you explain what the Secular Franciscan Order is?
From the time of St. Francis, not only were there men who were following to live as he lived, as brothers in a religious community, and the poor Clares who gathered around St. Clare, there were also numerous people who were not available to live in religious communities, but had their own families and maintained their own finances. That group of people eventually formed what we today call the Secular Franciscan Order. And they live in a not just spiritually following St. Francis, but also in a more formal structure in fraternities around the world.
St. Louis of France is the patron of the Third Order of St. Francis, as his life exemplified the Franciscan way of living. St. Louis's life reminds us that Franciscan spirituality always involves a commitment to working for God's justice in society and the promotion of peace. Given the large role of the secular Franciscans in the United States, how important is it for them to be involved in every aspect of American society?
It's very important for all of us Christians to be involved in every aspect of American society. But I think especially for the secular Franciscans, because our rule of life within the Franciscan family is always to live the gospel. And the seculars in particular live the gospel in the secular world. This is a world that's very much broken in so many different ways. And the gospel is good news, which we're impelled by our faith to share. We live in a society that doesn't necessarily appreciate religion or endorse any one particular religion, but the values of the gospel have definitely influenced the way in which our society is structured and are part of the inspiration that behind the way our government is structured. So it's very important for us to have an ongoing influence in so many different ways. We do this sometimes very directly, but maybe more successfully indirectly, simply by the way that we engage in political discourse, in our social interactions, in a way which is always informed by our faith and our understanding of how to live the gospel.
From gospel to life and life to gospel. This saying is taken from the rule of the Secular Franciscan Order. Can you explain what it means?
For sure. We start with the gospel. We hear the gospel in church. We read the gospel on our own. And as we absorb the gospel, we bring that to our life. It informs not only the choices that we make, but also the way that we see the people and the situations that we live in. And then we then come back to church, or we come back to reading the gospel on our own, and we hear different things in the gospel. We're more attentive to some of the things and its applications as we hear the gospel again, as we read it again. Sometimes the Holy Spirit speaks in our hearts, and so it starts the cycle where, going between the gospel and our life, back and forth, we learn how to proclaim Jesus's good news better and more fully to the world.